What's happening, everybody? Yesterday I put up a video of a Singleton deck, particularly for Gauntlet, that I ran and got 4 Prime Glories with. I've updated it a bunch of times. It's really a Bilgewater, Noxus, Freljord mid-range deck that has just a ton of value and really puts out high damage and has treated me very well. And I've updated it with every new release of cards. I've always kept updating that list and kind of become a little bit of someone who just makes a lot of Singleton content. I haven't seen a lot of Singleton content out there besides this, so I like to try to put it out there. I think it's a really fun format, and I just have a blast playing in it. Well, that video didn't include any gameplay. It ran a little long, so today I'm just going to take us into a few games. I'm just re-entering the Gauntlet raw. Won't finish the run most likely, although my Essence Quest would thank me if I did. That being said, I'll probably run 1 or 2 games, and I just normally run the content. I'm not going to cut and edit gameplay crazily. Kind of just going to run through a game, talk about some decisions that as we go, and just kind of enjoy the game and talking about it, kind of like I'm just streaming. So that's normally how the videos will be here. So hopefully you enjoy that. If you guys are new here, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell us what we can do better. So as we jump on over, we'll get searching for a game. And like I said, this is a Bilgewater, Freljord, Noxus mid-range deck. It relies on consistency. I'm going to make a few other different decks for Singleton because I know this is not everybody's favorite play style, but ideally we can all find it, at least useful to think about the various different decks in Singleton. So even just this deck that I'm playing against, an Ionia, Demacia, Piltover, and Zon deck. So this seems a little bit all over the place on the surface, but we will see. So yeah, typically, this is not the best hand, so we will just pitch everything except Omen Hawk, and we get that as our secondary hand. Not the worst, not the best, but it is what it is. So obviously we just have Omen Hawk. So yeah, we could play Croaker onto Omen Hawk on turn 2, kind of start thinking about that, but I'm not 100% that it will be necessary or not. You can see what we'll draw first as well. We got a Scorched Earth, so it could be useful. They could be running Grand Plaza in there. They do have a decent amount of actual combat units there. So since he didn't do anything in terms of playing a unit, I think I'm just going to open attack and try to do a shared spoils here. Well, that changes my mind, actually. So, yeah, I think a decent play would be shared spoils. It gives a lot of value in a mode like Singleton where they're very limited on removal. But for this, a 4/4 Draven on 3 is pretty dang good. Even if they dump removal into it, I can still do the plan of shared spoils into that. So, that will be the plan. Alright, so he's playing a contraption. So we can attack with Draven because we can threaten the kill with Spinning Axe, which is nice. So he did play a 6-cost card, so he, most likely is running some of the Mage Seer type of units. Can't really block that because I can threaten and I would 100% just discard something else. But now we still have Draven providing good mid-range value here. And we'll share shared spoils there for sure. So now we got a 5/5 3-cost. That's great. Obviously, we got pretty lucky with Omen Hawk and shared spoils, but that's why we run those 2 and Hearthguard as well. Because extra stats in Singleton when they don't have high removal is just extremely important. Alright, so we got a 4-attack guy there. So he is going to kill Draven. Not much I can do about that. And again, none of our champions are really a win condition. We're just trying to really get a lot of good units across the board, really. That's all we're going for here. So yeah, Draven will trade. We got some decent cards in our hands still, and now Draven provided, a decent damage proc and 3 axes. I mean, you can't ask for anything else from a 3-drop, really. Swain getting +1/+1 is really good as well. And that's from the shared spoils. I think I'm going to play Swain here. I'm not too worried about any of the 5-drops. You could have like a Vi that's decently big, but everything else, Lee Sin defensively isn't going to do much. So, yeah, we're fine with just playing Swain. And again, if he blocks Swain, we can still threaten with an axe. We have a lot of axes we can threaten with. Let's see what he does. So we know we have a Yeti coming up on top of the deck, which is fine. He'll be a 5/5 as well for 1. We have a draw card here, and we have a draw card here, which is super powerful. So we'll definitely send both here. He might force me to use an axe, or he can just block with that. Yeah, probably switch those. Makes a little bit more sense. Force me to use an X. You know, they don't have combat trick wise. You know, Ionia has some with twin disciplines, and Demacia obviously has shields and things like that. So if he does do something along those lines, that could definitely save his 5/5, but doesn't even kill our Swain, so we're not too worried about it unless it's a riposte, in which case it would definitely kill our Swain. Yeah, so we clean the board up a little bit. Now I could have went the Omen Hawk as well to maybe get some more damage through, but okay, so Swain is dying with removal. And it would have been decent because we actually can level up Gangplank and Sejuani moderately. Well, we do have a couple cards that deal damage on opposing turn, including Death's Hand and the Grenadier. That's pretty massive. So even though I won't draw Swain, a 6/9 with Overwhelm and round start abilities like that is super strong. Things that, you know, again, we're in this mode where they don't have ultimate removal, right? They can't run 3x Vengeance or any other high removal cards at a larger quantity. So things like Leviathan are really strong because they have the ability to just stick on the board and deal so much Nexus damage. And they also can't run that much healing in this mode, so we have that ability as well. Now, Zap is really good because our 3 or cost or less spells are all super important. We actually have removal for that, but we also just have removal for Ezreal right now. So we'll take the extra card draw on our turn, and then we'll probably eventually Scorched Earth that if his hand goes down any lower, because we don't want to give him a ton of extra cards. But right now we're kind of sitting at a spot where it's pretty good. Now our question really comes to, do we open attack here? Because, you know, it will get some damage through, but if he does have a Mystic Shot, it does stop a lot of the damage. And if he plays something like Lux or something with Barrier, it could slow our attack down. But we also have a really good way to establish our board with Enraged Yeti and things. So I'm going to go a little bit on the greedier side and try to establish the board. Because Enraged Yeti only costs 1. We can play Enraged Yeti plus a Gangplank. Or even Enraged Yeti plus Grenadier plus Croaker and have enough as well to Death's Hand with 7 full mana left. So we have a lot of options. It's a little greedier than his opening attack, but he could easily stop a lot of our nonsense if we didn't. In this instance, I think I just go Gangplank to have another 5 attack Overwhelm. The Keg won't get any use this turn, not until I can Death's Hand. But we're feeling good. I mean, this game went pretty normally. You know, we obviously had a good shared spoil and all that stuff, but yes, we can't react to kill it, so he gets a random 1-drop, which is not that big of a deal. We'll send everything. Obviously, he has good blocks for the Omen Hawk, but at this point, the Omen Hawk's not doing much else. We just want to get some damage through. Blocking here doesn't make a ton of sense to me just because he could have blocked the 5/5, even though it's an elusive card, but yeah. So we're definitely getting good damage through mid-range. Now, if they were stabilizing, and, you know, normally we can get to this point now, we're kind of rolling with the tide. If they do have a way to stabilize, which can be, you know, if you're running into Shadow Isles, they can hit their 1 Vengeance. You can get a big Ice Quake. Like, you can get your, or their 1 Ruination, I mean. You can get your board wiped. It doesn't happen as often, but it can definitely happen. But normally we would want to try to finish again with Leviathan, with obviously Captain Farron's probably the best of the best in that sense. And then just keep swinging large units wide and then pummel through damage. And we do have a few different damage spells as well. So that game went, you know, moderately clean in a pretty good sense. We did have a really good shared spoils, and Omen Hawk hit a Draven, which was really great, so that obviously helps. And my quest for Essence continues. Let's play another one. So yeah, no, I think I've made 2 videos on this deck previously in Singleton. One was before Cosmic Creations, definitely, maybe even before the Monuments of Power, but I think it was with Monuments of Power. And then the one I just most recently made was, you know, obviously yesterday, which was about a week off of Cosmic Creations. So yeah, that's relatively fresh. But I haven't showed a lot of gameplay with it. I've streamed with it once or twice, but this will be, you know, obviously a full-blown gameplay video, so we can have that on the channel showing you know, how this deck actually functions if we ever connect to the game. If we ever connect to the game. Alright, we got, so I've been actually seeing stuff like this go around a little bit. I think I played it 2 or 3 times in my climb, in my Gauntlet, I mean. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. Zoe can be really annoying and she's really solid, but you can also just insta-surrender. I guess that's why we had the connection issue. I don't know what's going on. It's a little awkward. But yeah, we'll just jump right back in. And that wins counter triple, baby. We're getting that essence. Let's go. Yeah, it's funny. Like, it's like an auto disconnect right there. It doesn't even take out from the... It doesn't even give us a win in the gauntlet, but it counts for our quest. It's just kind of funny because the surrender was so fast. I guess it was a connection issue on his part. But yes, that's what I was saying. That deck I've actually seen a couple times. It's like Zoe, and it's, you know, the Freljord in there has been there a couple times, but I've also seen it with Ionia. So they run Targon, Demacia, and then they splash either Ionia or Freljord, and it's a lot of buffs and it's a lot of things like that, or just protection units. I've seen a couple that are literally just running like Nopify and Deny, so they're just protecting their few champions and, you know, their important cards. Because, you know, there's less removal, so if you have Deny, that's even stronger, and it can completely turn off things against, you know, us removing their Zoe. So for instance, right here, and this is a weird one. We only see 3 champions here. And it's Zoe, Heimerdinger, and Victor in just 2 regions. So who knows what we're going to play against here. But again, this Zoe shenanigans, she's been seen in a lot of different decks here, and I think she's super solid for this mode. We could keep an Avalanche. That could help against some things, but I don't really like any of this, so I'm going to pitch it all. It's a much better hand. It's a little too light, but it's still very good. So we don't need Draven's Biggest Fan this turn because we don't really want to draw Draven next turn, but we do want to draw him in general. So I'm going to play the Saboteur. Now we have the option to attack openly before he can play anything, or build our board. Since we can play 2 units, I'm going to decide to build our board. This could get punished with something like Ballistic Bot. Oh, look at that. From the future, dude. Apparently. But we'll still attack with everything anyway. We don't want Ballistic Bot to get too big. And now Draven's Biggest Fan does put Draven right on top of our deck, which is super solid, so we will guarantee our 3-drop, even though we already have a lot of 3-drops as well. Holding onto a Culling Strike is super solid, so this card is mainly in here for things like these 3 champions. Very important card to remove those 3 things. And there is one of those 3 things. So we'll pass for now, and we'll most likely just Culling Strike her. I think she's too much value to let live. Now, there's not... He has to get to +3 attack. He obviously can use Pale Cascade. That just puts him at 3, so I think it's a pretty safe Culling Strike. Now, I could have saved that for Heimerdinger or Victor for sure, but I'm actually more worried about the value that Zoe gives in this type of matchup, and also it's Singleton, and he has Zoe now. He's not guaranteed to get Heimerdinger or Victor. He's only running 1 of, so you kind of don't want to save cards for very specific things, because you can't guarantee that they're going to have those specific things. So here I'm going to go with Draven. Obviously, I have all the 3-drops in the world. We don't have a ton of draw right now, but we at least have Draven. Putting Trapper out is solid, but he does dilute our initial hand here. Right, he's going for a Get Excited, so counterfeit copy something, and then he's Get Exciting something. We'll still attack with both. Get this Ballistic Bot off the board if he so chooses. So yeah, what I was saying about Trapper is that essentially he can dilute our hand a little bit. You know, we do want to draw some things that will give us more hand value. Weapon Hilt's actually a pretty good one. But he will essentially put a Yeti here, and then we will eventually draw that, which will cause a problem. But I think right now it's our only bet here. It won't cause a problem, but it will just not... You know, if we're really looking for that end game stuff of getting Captain Farron, Leviathan, anything like that, he will slow it down. But in this sense, it's pretty good. So I'm going to go with him for now, and we'll see what he does. You know, he's going to play a spell and then get something out of it. So he's playing the Improbulator, alrighty. We got a 3/2 unit, which is pretty good. So we will send both now, and we might even Death's Hand this unit here as well. Well, he's blocking there, so we'll take plenty of damage anyway. We're going to Weapon Hilt over here to get some extra damage through. We got a quick attack one. We're actually going to heal the Yeti here. I think he's trying to remove the Yeti, but we need to keep him alive. Hearthguard is good, so now you see our hand has died out this game, which is very unfortunate. He's playing that, which is also pretty unfortunate. It's going to be a massive T-Rex. Like I said, our hand has died out a good bit, which is going to cause a problem for sure. And the level Heimerdinger is always a problem. So we need to try to end the game by attacking wide. Oh, he's got a Trail of Evidence, so he's got lots of value over there. So we just pass for now. Try to kill the 4-1 on the backside so then I can attack. But we're in a spot where we really need to draw really well. Our hand was very dilute. We had the full mulligan here and we drew 3 1-drops, which was good for rushing, but bad for this stage of the game. Babbling Berg is a great card right now. So I'm going to send everything. And this threatens a lot of damage. If he doesn't block with Heimer on one of the 3, if he does block with Heimer on one of the 3s, I can Spinning Axe, discard the Fragment, and get that kill. And if he doesn't, then he's threatening death anyway. So hopefully we can get Heimerdinger off the board here with this open attack. And the Berg is a great card because it will allow us to draw something of pretty high importance. There's a few champions that fit the 5 attack range as well, but on top of that, Fathern and Leviathan sound like a broken record, but those two are there are finishing cards for sure. The Priestess is a really good card. So Targon is a super good region for many reasons, but Priestess and the Invoke package is really good at fleshing out a lot of the consistency of your deck. That's not bad. We at least get some overwhelm damage. Not terrible. Okay, he shuffled 4 other Heimerdingers into his deck with counterfeit copies. This is crazy. Oh, Heimerdinger is back. That is not good. We do have a leveled Gangplank. So if we can survive this turn, I think we can win. I'll knock on wood, but I think we have a good shot at winning. But yeah, he also just blew up his T-Hex when he played Progress Day. So he drew too many cards. Death Ray was created by... Oh, okay, no, he actually drew that, so he is running that. He's got a Challenger there. We will play the Yeti here. We'll pass for now. Obviously, we'd have another T-Hex, but we'd kind of just eat that other T-Hex. We wouldn't really mind it too much. So we got a leveled Gangplank, so if he gets to attack, I think we're set. He'll do 2 to everything with the keg that we have out, on top of 2 Overwhelm units with 6 and 7 attack. So hopefully we're okay. He definitely could have removal for this. I did not think we would be facing a counterfeit copies Heimerdinger deck in Singleton today, but we are. Alright, so he does have that, which is pretty bad. Alright, so we are going to key fragment this to give it quick attack, and we're going to send everything and see how we do. So yeah, I could have played Gangplank on the last turn. That might have been the correct play. And Hush is super strong too. That does hurt. He is going to survive this turn for sure. So yeah, sending Gangplank playing Gangplank last turn might have been the correct play because he could have attacked him and would have done 2 to everything. But that also wouldn't have actually... he would have still been able to Hush the Overwhelm and would have got 2 damage through, but... And he's getting the Mark 2 off. Get the kill off. Keep Heimerdinger out. So we're looking pretty terrible right now. We'll see if we can top deck it. A little Heart of the Cards action. But Counterfeit, yeah, this is a deck I definitely wouldn't suggest taking into Singleton, even though I very well might lose to it. Just the amount of times you're actually going to pull off seeing Heimerdinger, let alone seeing your 1 counterfeit copies and Heimerdinger. It's very low. Very, very low. Alright, so he's going to have 10 elusive damage, which is pretty bad, so we might lose this turn. He's He's got elusive and tough. Elusive and tough. That's all we can really do is block. And he has it. So yeah, that was pretty hilarious. I don't even know what to say about that. That was pretty insane. Counterfeit copies on Heimerdinger is the counter to our deck, apparently. So we'll run one more. Like I said, I normally just make these videos where I just roll through it. I'm not going to edit out gameplay, different decisions, things like that. So yeah, talking about what I could have done. I could have played Gangplank the previous turn. He could have killed the keg with an attack. He passed at that one point, so I could have played Gangplank, but he would have killed the keg. Gangplank could have open attacked, essentially leaving him alive before the obliterate that he could have had. If that does happen, he still can get hushed, like the Ancient Yeti got hushed, and he would still have plenty of health left. They would deal 1 damage with his ability, and then Gangplank would do 0 overwhelm because of the hush, and we'd be right back to square one there. So, yeah, I don't think there was a way out of that situation. I think we got a little bit high rolled, and there's not really anything we can do about it. He saw counterfeit copies and Yeti, so yeah. So for here, this is probably a Grand Plaza style deck. We'll probably keep Calling Strike, and we'll pitch both champions. At least we have Captain Baron for the end of this game. But Icevale Archer on defense is good. Calling Strike is good for removal. We got 2 damage through, and we're on our way to leveling up some people. So that card's pretty great, especially against Mr. Fearsome Spider over there. We got a decent combo here with that as well for maybe later in the game, but we might also just want to play that once we have Fiora on board, or depending on where he goes. So this turn, I definitely want to play Shared Spoils. Pretty much if you can play Shared Spoils, you want to. It's so much value in this type of mode. You just get so much out of it. So we'll definitely go for it. Yes, a 5/6 Trundle is very solid. So we got Scorched Earth.
I keep step with the heartbeat of Noxus.
Alright, he's got that. So I think I'm actually going to freeze the Challenger here. Just keep my stuff alive. I could Calling Strike that. I definitely could Calling Strike it. I don't think there's a way he gets around that, so I think I'm going to go for the Calling Strike now. Don't really need the mana for next turn anyway. So now this is an interesting decision, right? This open attack. I do have the ability to play Trundle, who does have regeneration, who could get great value, but he could play Garen or something like that. Right now, if any of these units trade into this drummer, I'm fine with it. And if not, I'm also fine with him just taking 8 damage. He's going to have very low access to healing, Radiant Guardian and a couple Demacia things, but not a lot in those 2 regions that are going to heal him. So like I said, this trade, I know I'm missing the chance to attack with a regenerating Trundle, but that attack is just a little bit too good to pass up on. Now we'll play our 5/6 Trundle, and hopefully we draw some other units from our Shared Spoils that will have slight buffs. But as you can tell, just this 1 buff stat is such an important factor in this mode. We got some combat tricks. We're feeling pretty decent. We're missing drops here, so we're going to have to try to make that up with some combat tricks. But if we can make it up successfully with combat tricks, we should be able to close out with Farron later. Alright, so let's see where he goes from here.
Hold nothing back.
So I'll go for a Weapon Hilt kill here. If I kill this thing with Weapon Hilt, that'd be great. If he does shield it or something, I do have the ability to Whirling Death it. This hilt is really great for +2 attack on any of our Overwhelm units. Or this Fragment, I mean. Ooh, just the straight silence. That hurts. Yeah, so we just accept the silence. We pass here. Alright, so we have that coming through. We'll block this, and we'll Scorched Earth that just to get it killed. Actually, a better play here is just Brittle Steel this. Bring it down to 0. Get the kill. We also have the ability to Whirling Death this thing. That's a pretty tempting option. I think I'm going to take it. With only 1 mana, I really doubt there's anything that's going to save him from this. You know, he could play Ranger's Resolve. That would save him from the Whirling Death kill, but then the 2/1 would trade into it and kill it. So I think we're pretty safe in terms of playing that. And we get to fully trade his board out. We're on turn 7. We don't really have anything in hand that we want to play right now. Harsh Winds is a great card just for defense again, for good trade value. So this game's kind of showing off the ability to survive with cards like Whirling Death as a combat trick, Brittle Steel, Harsh Winds, even Scorched Earth, was an option there. Now, I could have obviously played a Blade Fragment to give +2 attack on the open attack. You know, it's debatable if that's worth it or not. But now, yeah, we didn't really draw any units before that, but now we have some. So he's got a decent amount of Overwhelm coming through, but we do have Harsh Winds to stop it. Or we could just play our own Farron. Have a few different options here. He just wants to deal 2 damage through by killing my thing. So if that's the case, we don't really need the Harsh Wind to do anything. We'll just play our own Farron and then hopefully win on the open attack here. But we'll see what he has. See if he has any single combats or anything, but we have a lot of answers to that. So we'll attack. We'll have 15 overwhelm damage and then a 2 on the side. So that's enough to kill. So he's got to play something, and we have Harsh Winds. Now, I most likely should have played this previously. We'll still Harsh Winds just to save both our units. Yeah, most likely should have played the +2 on something there. A misplay because this +2 would have been fine with a Decimate as well. I didn't look at my mana. I was thinking I would need all my mana left to use a Decimate at the end, but in that instance I didn't. So yeah, that was kind of, you know, first game was showing off kind of the way the deck can kind of just push through damage and just have a really strong mid-range game. Buffing stats kept our units alive. Second game, we kind of fought, but you showed kind of how if you don't hit a lot of those draw cards that you can really lose a lot of value there. And then the last game kind of just showed a lot of the combat tricks of the deck. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you liked the video. Again, we just kind of put the gameplay up raw, just talk through some decisions, so it's not going to be flashy editing with all these things, because I just want to show you what games actually are like, and in reality we lose games. So yeah, that's the game, that's the stream, that's the video. I enjoy making this content. I hope you guys enjoy content as well. If you use the deck, let me know, leave a comment, tell me how it went, tell me what you changed. I really like hearing all the different changes that happen to all these different Singleton decks. There's so many options. There's no wrong changes. There's literally tons of options. So if you change something, let me know. I want to talk about it with you guys and you know, build the deck from there. So I appreciate you guys sticking around, and have a good day.